China released no update at all. A verdict is what they delivered instead. No dramatic press conference took place, no warning went out, and no staged moment of excitement appeared. Just a quiet upload arrived, a series of FITS files, photometric readings, astrometric, music positions, timestamp data streams that slipped into their national archives like routine paperwork. Yet the scientists who opened those files saw nothing routine. Confirmation is exactly what they found. Confirmation of the one scenario that astronomers across the West hoped they would never confront. Because China's new observations of 3I Atlas, recorded during the most suspicious 36-hour blackout in Western astronomy, do not, music, simply fill a gap. They rewrite the entire timeline. Those readings show an interstellar object brightening at the wrong time, expanding its coma in ways that music shatter our models, developing a tail structure that contradicts every earlier reading, and behaving with a precision no natural comet could ever display. And the music strangest detail remains this. Nothing about the object changed outwardly, yet everything transformed, as if 3I Atlas was never waiting for solar heat. It waited for us. It waited for that exact gap. It waited for the single moment when only one nation would be watching. China's discovery, music, reveals no fresh mystery. It confirms the one we have spent years denying, the one we feared from the beginning. Blackout. The timeline is everything, and the timeline stands wrong. On July 1st, 2025, Chile's Atlas survey first spotted the object later named 3I Atlas, only the third confirmed interstellar visitor in human history. But from the instant astronomers calculated its orbit, something felt deeply off. It was not merely fast. It moved too fast. Music, clocking heliocentric speeds near 209,000 kilometers per hour, sliding across the solar system on a trajectory that never belonged to our sun. Western observatories, music poured every resource into tracking it. Hubble, JWST, VLT, Gemini, all aligned to construct one continuous music observational arc. Then, precisely when the comet reached the most sensitive phase of its evolution, everything went dark. Not by accident, but by deliberate scheduling across 36 hours. 5 major Western observatories stood offline together. Gyroscope realignment, mirror cleaning, instrument swap, mission reprioritization, music maintenance cycles aligned with uncanny precision. And in that one tiny window, a slit opened in the fabric, music of global astronomy. 3I Atlas slipped dangerously close to the sun's glare. The exact moment when a comet reveals its true structure. Music, through peak outgassing, jet activation, dust-to-gas ratios, coma expansion, nucleus stress fractures. Music, everything we rely on to understand what it truly is. A natural comet would have nothing to hide. An unnatural, music, one would have everything to reveal. The West closed its eyes. China kept watching. High-altitude stations in Tibet, Qinghai, and Yunnan stayed wide awake throughout the blackout. No maintenance cycles interrupted them. No scheduling conflicts arose. No instrument switches occurred. The skies in that hemisphere remained music, dark, stable, and perfectly aligned for continuous tracking. While the most advanced observatories on Earth slept, China captured uninterrupted astrometric positions, coma expansion rates, music, tail morphology, multi-filter photometry, dust grain size distributions, brightness evolution curves, every frame time-stamped with millisecond precision. Music, every exposure fed into cooling systems running under sub-zero night air, every FITS file pushed through redundant fiber optic, music, links into Beijing and Nanjing servers. And what they recorded was not what Western scientists expected to see once the blackout ended. The coma did not merely grow. It expanded sunward. Music, the tail did not simply appear. It elongated at an unnatural rate. The brightness did not just fluctuate. It rose by 0.3 magnitudes in mere hours. The dust profile did not simply change. It shifted toward larger carbon-rich grains, unheard of for a comet carrying this chemical history. China did not fill the gap. China exposed it. To grasp what China uncovered, we must first grasp what the coma actually is. A halo of dust and gas released when a comet wakes near the sun. But 3I Atlas never woke. It reacted. It responded. It spoke in particles. From mid-July onward, JWST and SphereX had already detected something strange. A coma dominated by carbon dioxide, not water, a signature implying a thermal history completely different from any comet native to our system. Yet during the blackout, when solar radiation peaked, China observed the comet's own echo signal, a brightness surge, an expansion wave, a structural rearrangement of the dust cloud. It was not random sublimation. It formed a pattern, and to catch that pattern, you needed eyes on the object every single minute. China possessed them. The West did not. When JWST and VLT returned online, the time series had broken. The comet had traveled 1.2 million kilometers, enough to blur any high-resolution reconstruction. But China's data stitched everything together as if nothing had ever been missed. And when scientists aligned the coma readings, the conclusion stood simple. The interstellar visitor was not behaving like a comet struggling to survive the sun. It behaved like an object responding to it. This part of the story may not sound dramatic, but it is. Every photon China captured passed through nitrogen-cooled CCD detectors, atmospheric correction pipelines, redundancy servers, high-altitude vacuum checksum verification, metadata alignment using Gaia DR3, light curve cross-calibration using Landolt sequences. All while Western observatories with mirrors 4 times larger recorded nothing. And the result? China created the first continuous photometric sequence of an interstellar comet during its peak solar activation. The data revealed coma elongation toward the sun, photometric brightening consistent with jet activation, dust ratios incompatible with water-driven sublimation, a nucleus brightness profile inconsistent with size estimates as low as 300 m, astrometric precision that reduced orbital error by a factor of 5. This was not merely good astronomy. This was strategic astronomy. And within that strategy, China recorded the exact moment Western science missed. The moment 3I Atlas revealed its true nature. When Western observatories finally came back online, the damage had already occurred. Not to the comet, to our understanding of it. A full 36 hours without data during a fast-moving interstellar object's perihelion progression is not a gap. It is a wound. Without China's logs, the West would have awakened blind to the coma's sudden asymmetry, the sunward jet structure, the brightness surge, the dust-to-gas shift, the subtle changes in trajectory. But the most damning element remains this. The Western models, once updated, refused to align fully with natural comet behavior. The missing section of the light curve left uncertainties, music, too large to ignore, and every recalculation pointed toward the same conclusion. Whatever 3I Atlas is, it is not acting like a comet ejected randomly from another music star. And the silence from Western agencies, NASA, ESA, NOR Lab, became deafening. Because the one truth they could not deny, China could prove. When China pushed music, the blackout period files, into the China VO Sky Survey portal, astronomers around the world viewed them before any official commentary. Music, no press release appeared, no interpretation followed. Just raw data, the most honest form of truth in music science. Within 12 hours, the Minor Planet Center recalculated the orbit. Music, American institutions downloaded the FITS datasets. European analysts ran their own photometry. The orbital uncertainty collapsed from 25 arcsec, music, to 5. The comet's hyperbolic trajectory stood confirmed with unmatched precision. But the strangest twist, music, lies here. The coma's elongation was not random noise. It was directional, purposeful, almost signal-like, a response pattern activated by solar radiation. The echo signal the documents mention was never a metaphor. It was literal. 3I Atlas reacted to sunlight like something that already knew sunlight was coming. Once Chinese and Western data merged, something impossible unfolded. The The spectral readings from Sphere X, the brightness profile from Hubble, the coma geometry from China's BVR photometry, the astrometric positions derived from Gaia DR3, the dust distribution modeled through scattered light, the nucleus size constraints, the orbital recalculations, all aligned into one continuous coherent timeline. And that unified timeline shows a CO2 dominant comet that should not behave like one. A brightness curve inconsistent with its thermal history. A tail structure that shifted during blackout hours. A nucleus too small to produce the observed coma by natural means. A dust-to-gas ratio far outside the solar system's norm. A hyperbolic trajectory with suspicious precision. An object responding faster to solar activation than physics predicts. This is not a random rock from another star. This is a phenomenon. And China's discovery confirmed what everyone feared. We were not tracking a passive, music, interstellar comet. We were tracking an active interstellar object. China's observations claim no alien technology. They push no conspiracy. They offer no speculation. They simply display the truth the West tried to avoid. 3i Atlas behaved differently when only one nation watched. It brightened when no one else could measure it. It altered its tail structure when only one hemisphere held eyes on it. It expanded its coma in a direction that contradicts every natural model. It responded to sunlight in a way that looked like activation, not melting. It produced data that aligned too perfectly to dismiss as coincidence. Music, the fear, never centered on danger from the comet. The fears centered on the comet being deliberate, purposeful, coherent. And China's discovery confirmed it. This was never merely an interstellar object. It was an interstellar event. And whatever 3i Atlas truly, music, is, it knows how to hide. It knows exactly when we are not looking. In the end, the telescopes themselves did not shock the world. Neither did the images, the brightness spikes, nor the impossible coma expansion. It was the silence. The silence in the West and the data from the East that shattered music. Because China did not merely observe something strange. They observed something the music rest of us were never supposed to see, something that slipped into the blackout hour like a whisper, changed its behavior. Music, when no Western observatory watched, and then emerged on the other side looking nothing like the object we thought we knew. For months, astronomers' music insisted 3i Atlas was simply a comet, a frozen wanderer from another star, nothing more. But comets do not. Music reacts selectively. They do not change their coma direction in the exact hours when half the planet stands blind. They do not brighten on demand. They do not alter their dust profiles only when observed by a single nation, and they do not mimic activation patterns the moment solar radiation peaks. China's discovery created no new fear. It confirmed the fear already present. It confirmed that the object we welcomed as an innocent interstellar visitor behaved like something aware of when it was being watched. Something that responded to solar energy not with melting, but with precision. Music, something that structured its tail, reshaped its coma, and adjusted its brightness. Music, like a mechanism executing instructions written somewhere far beyond our sun. The fear never involved 3i Atlas crashing into Earth. The fear involved it being non-passive, non-random, not simply drifting, that was doing something and waiting for the right moment to do it. And when that moment arrived, the international scientific, music community stood blind, except for one nation. China's measurements, music stitched the missing hours into one continuous timeline. And that seamless curve is the most unsettling part. Because when you examine it, the behavior is not chaotic. It is coherent, purposeful, like a trajectory correction, like an activation sequence, like music a response. Every pattern the West missed, China captured. Every doubt the West, music, tried to dismiss, China confirmed. Every fear scientist whispered privately now sits at the center of the conversation. If 3i Atlas behaves differently depending on who watches, then what exactly is watching us back? Because that is what this music comes down to. Not aliens, not fantasy, not Hollywood, but something music, far simpler and far more frightening. We are studying an object that does not behave like an object. It behaves like a system, one that holds no obligation to reveal itself to us, one that used the blackout window to show a different face, a different structure, a different truth. And only one nation saw it for the first time in modern astronomy. Humanity now divides not by interpretation, but by information. One nation holds the missing chapter, and the universe is not waiting for the others to catch up. So now, as 3i music, Atlas continues its silent path through the solar system, drifting, accelerating, reshaping itself under the light of our sun. We stand left with a truth, music, that can no longer be ignored. We did not simply detect an interstellar object. We detected an interstellar music intent. Maybe passive, maybe ancient, maybe benign, maybe something music else entirely, but intent nonetheless. And no matter what the truth turns out to be, one fact stands above everything else. The universe is paying attention, and it just proved it knows when we are not. If this story left you, music, questioning what really entered our solar system, do not look away now. Subscribe so you do not miss what China and now NASA release next. Turn on notifications, music, because the next data drop could change everything we think we know. And tell us in the comments. Do you believe 3 music? Atlas is just a comet, or the first interstellar system humanity has ever witnessed in motion? I'd love to hear what you think about this, so drop a comment below. If you enjoyed our conversation today, please share this video